Hey guys, welcome to the show. We've got some more awesome D&D maps to do tonight from Tales from the Yawning Portal. They don't give you really anything but the dungeon maps, and there are multiple times where you've got to interact with stuff even in the fucking title. The Yawning Portal doesn't come pre-drawn, doesn't come with really any inclination, and so that's what we worked on these last two sessions. So let's take a look at last week's. Pan on down. So this is the Yawning Portal. We have our entrance in here, horse and stable area with the garden. We worked on setting up this gallery here to the left with the curios that it talks about getting in and making, and then we also have a straight shot in to sign up and into this bar room over to the right where we've got a nice seating area. We've got a magical fire back here, the well itself, as well as the staircase, latrines, windows, and everything else. And we did that in just under 3 hours with just 2 markers and some crayons. And we're going to keep that theme going tonight, and we're going to draw some Oakhurst. And I would be remiss to say that I will be using a teensy bit of inspiration. I would recommend Googling Oakhurst, and you'll get an image of the map that you'll be able to use. They were able to slam on that, and also tonight we're listening to some dope ass music on my Spotify. We are checking out. Oh gosh, I'm just now realizing that's not the right screen. Well, it looks like the image might have gotten misplaced. That's probably my fault. Let me see if I can't get it back up here real quick. Well, still nothing. I wonder why. Well, I'll keep looking real quick. This is going to be kind of important to have, I suspect, so I'm going to pull open some of my files and see if I can find where in the hell these oh, that's why I had been moving them around. Oh, that bit me in the ass. Why would I have done that to myself? I'm just gonna drag and drop. There we go. That's what I've been looking for. Alright, so now that we got our overlay, let me adjust the camera angle a little bit. Kablam. Alright, so this is where we're going to pick up tonight. And we're going to roll from here. Goodbye, Yawning Portal. You served us well. And I'm actually going to make this a 2-part map. I'm going to flip this around. Alright, yeah. Here we go. Now we're playing with some fire. Alright. So I'm going to move you up a little bit so that you can get a better view. Let's see how that looks. 38 special plays in the background. Alright, so far so good. I think I'm digging it. Let's get you a little bit more. Woo! There we go. Alright, so here's a canvas. I had set up a couple of plot notes here as we worked towards the town of Oakhurst, just kind of showing how the road zigzags and up to. I'm going to go ahead and put Oakhurst. I want to draw a line that goes on the inside, like some sort of retro design. Like badge or some shit. Yeah. Looks a little more official now. Let's get that star going a little bit harder. Yeah, very nice. Maybe put just some filigree in here to help capture a little more texture in the negative space. I'm just using hatch lines. Anything to make it stand out with a little more contrast. I've got some tea rocking from the Republic of Tea tonight. Can we get these books in the frame? Because they dope as hell. Xanatar needs to be here as well. Xanatar's the good luck charm. He's always watching. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put all of this within a circle. I'm going to put an X up here, Xanatar, your shadow, a little intense, brother. Not going to lie. Just going to put a line, and I'm going to write notes. Shucks is my playlist that has 38 special, and as much as I love 38 special, I don't really like back-to-back tracks. And you can see my Spotify link right down there if you want to hop on the bandwagon with me and show me what you like. Okay, so now that we've got this little note area set out, I'm going to reserve this much space for doing the entire town. So I'm going to draw. I know that the town, from what it looks like, kind of curves in like this. So I'm going to draw kind of like half of a parabola here. I'm going to draw a straight line. And this space over here I'm going to use for the Ashen Plain, because that's another area that they don't really cover a lot of map detail in. Okay, so by now hopefully you've had time to go Google and pull up an image. I've got one already pre-saved of Oakhurst, and you know, I'll try to leave that up on my phone so that everyone can see which one I'm working with. And the original Sunless Citadel 3.5 module, they were pretty forthcoming with a lot of these maps. They didn't have them printer ready by any means. Looks like I'm gonna have to resave it. I'm not finding it in my downloads. That's okay. Okay. So I've Googled Oakhurst Map, screenshotting it, show you what I'm working with here. Okay. So this is our Oakhurst map that we're going to be using as a bit of inspiration, and we're going to be using that to kind of note all the areas from along inside. Get a little bit of a closer view here. I just realized you can't see shit. Yeah, so this is Oakhurst. This is the one you're going to be able to find from 3.5, and this is what I'm going to be working off of. So I would recommend you go download it. Just Google Oakhurst Map. Okay. So if this is the road that people came in on from over here, that means it's going to keep up the zigzag fashion, and I see that here. It looks like it goes boom, down, and through. So we're going to draw these maps, these city maps, with just a couple of different places to visit. And so I'm going to start by doing the road, and I'm going to make the road just an inch apart. I'm going to eyeball it. And I'm going to go forward, down, and out. Okay. I'm going to do it with the other side. Forward, down and out. Alright, so that was all with the shoulder and the elbow again. Keep that hard cut. Carry through with it. Alright, then we're going to let this one lead out of town. Alright, so we've got our road set up here. It looks like I need to put a couple of cardinal directions, and I'll probably do that up here so that they can see these notes. This area is north, and I'll go ahead and do it down here. That area is north. Cool beans. Okay, so I'm seeing the first thing that comes up is the constabulary. So I'll go ahead and put a circle, and you want to make this enough for figures or tokens to fit in, so I'm just kind of eyeballing an inch to get you a little bit down here. What comes up after that is the mayor's office, so I'm going to go ahead and move just a little bit further away, get that circle going on. Alright, I'm going to put an arrow over here, it comes off, dot dot dot. There's a very big distinction between the new road and the old road. So I'm going to make sure they understand which one goes where. So we have the new road going this other way. And make sure that the elements point the same way. And I'm going to put on this side, I know that the new road continues, I'm going to put 2 in superscript. Old road. Oh shit. Yeah, dot 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 forward arrow, dot 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 forward arrow. Okay, so now we have this clear contrast. Alright, so it looks like we got the old bore in and a well. It looks like the well comes after the mayor's office. It also looks like there's a footpath that goes across it, so I'm going to make another circle here for the well. And I'm going to take some of my dotted lines and I'm going to go around it. Yeah. Because we have a general store and a blacksmith coming up. So I'll do the general store right here. I'll do the blacksmith right here. On the other side, we have some cool shit going on as well. We've got the old bore inn and a healer. Let's get the old bore inn going on over here. And I noticed that next to the healer were the stables, and so I'm gonna go infirmary, stables, and then we also went and visited a garden. So I'm gonna leave that intact as well. So it's pretty cool. Okay, so we have all of our base locations here, and it's pretty detailless, and we're gonna need to add some detail. Again, referencing my 3.5 map that I got off Google here from Oakhurst, we're gonna need to kind of start filling these features in with just a little bit of detail, but more so than anything, you are going to want to label what these places are. So I'm going to start with the well, because it's the easy one. Got a well. Ooh, got a runny nose. Okay, so we've got the well. Now let's get the mayor. Let's get the old bore in. Let's get the healer. Stable, garden, blacksmith. Uh-oh, gonna have to hyphenate that one. Word of the wise, blacksmith doesn't fit really easy in there. Alright, now we got our general. Oh boy, it looks like it's going double ABBA on Spotify right now. I gotta call that shit, nip it in the bud. Again, follow me on Spotify if you want to hear this music. All of my playlists are custom tailored and fucking filled with music. Most of it being on the more obscure side. So, oh gosh, it's playing some Afro Man right now. I'll take that. Constabulary. Yeah, that's not a hard word to say out loud at all. Let's get some more of this tea. Tasty. Okay, so now that we've got our circle set out, we should probably actually start adding detail so that we have something to color. And I'm going to add a couple of more footpaths. Yeah, down here. Let's kind of imagine there's maybe some kind of chill out area next to that healer. Maybe there's an encampment or something like that. And you know, there's probably a continuation of this footpath that goes down and around the blacksmith. Yeah, just like that. And I bet you there's one that goes from the old bore inn over to the healer and also to the road. Okay, so we've got all our footpaths laid out. Let's give this some of the detail. These people are supposed to be from a different campaign setting known as Greyhawk, and so I've just been, in my head, I've been presuming them to be very Swedish, with high-pointed triangular roofs, that kind of accent style. Let's get that right down the middle, but it's an inn, so put that very large chimney, hearth style, you know, right in that middle. Alright. And we're going to do some thatching later, but let's go ahead and presume, I think they get here in the morning. And so if this is north, sun would be coming in from this side, meaning this would be the shaded area. So let's go ahead and put some of our textural marks to help understand the tactile value. Just holding the paper down, doing a little cross. Now we'll do some on this side, but we're really only going to do it up to a certain point. Yeah, maybe just a little bit there. As far as what you should depict on the front, I think just having, you know, kind of a couple of logs coming down here, put a log across, space for a door, and then just draw the rest closed. So we've got the door right there in the middle, and I'm going to go ahead and just kind of fill in. Anything else, it would be really dark under here. So, you know, as long as you can see the door, it's good for me. Alright, so same with the stables. I'm going to bring up, actually it would be a little bit more stacked, so I'm going to bring up one high side. I'm going to draw a line across. And then as normal to do, I've seen that there will be a flat section. So then we'll close that off. Have it be a little staggered here. Close that gap right there. Just like the building before, the old bore in, underneath would be very dark. We would have a lot of texturing since we're having this, so just like we did with the old bore in, go ahead and draw those thatches across again. Do them in what looks to be about 3 rows. I don't know how many columns, fuck that. I'm not counting out my strokes. Alright, so we've got our stables. In terms of our garden, I think maybe just drawing some rounded, you know, looking foliage that we'll be able to color in with a little more specificity will probably go a good bit better than drawing every individual flower, but just to note that there are flowers there, I'll go ahead and, you know, do the old petal routine. So I've drawn a circle, now drawing ellipses off of it, and you can put, you know, more advanced. Let's try a tulip. Yeah, just like that. Get the idea that there are flowers there. Maybe some grapes or some cherries. I'll do like that. Okay, voila. You get it's a garden. In terms of what the healer shack looks like, kind of seeing the same thing as the old bore in. So let's draw this high point, put it across, high point down, have it come back a good bit. Draw it up there, meet it, draw it back down. Okay, and I'm just kind of filling in, and like I said, you know, these areas would be really dark in the contrast of the morning light. So we don't really have to worry about people asking for a lot of detail. You can, you know, say wood construction with stone foundations, triangular thatched roofs that have multiple compartments to help with multiple seasons. Which is pretty fucking dope. Well speaks for itself. So we can probably go over to the mayor's office right here. His is a little bit different. Yeah, he has the triangular arch setup that goes across. But it also cuts and goes flat with an awning, which is different from the other buildings. Not a big deal. Just account for it. Drew a little flat offshoot going off there. And I can also kind of see that there is a continued like pavilion space that kind of comes off a little bit with another awning. And I don't think they have one at back, but I guess the whole point kind of is that you can't really see a lot. That's fine. Okay, I'm gonna come across on this back end as well. Yeah, just like that. Let this texture up here kind of dissipate. Let's maybe put a nice little window in there. Everybody loves a good window. Okay, thatch a little bit on this awning, bring it across. Okay, so that brings us to the general store. You guessed it, looks like another thatched building. Blacksmith is kind of the same thing, but his looks like it's a little bit lower to the ground. So I'm probably gonna do his first, and then round back to theirs. His looks a little bit more lumpy. He's got a whole different space going on up on top of his area. He's got little lookouts and windows and stuff going on here. Pretty creative guy, if you ask me. Bring it down and across those two columns. A little bit of black. Now time for the general store. Very high points, but also an awning. So I'm actually going to start with the awning on this one. I'm going to draw this flat across, and I'm going to bring it in. And I'm going to shoot up into that high triangle. Bring it across. I've got another big chimney feature going on back here. Listening to some Al Green, I believe, going on right now. Huge fan of Al Green. Making sure these lines are consistent. And they've got quite a few columns going down into the ground. This one definitely looks a little bit more open, and I presume that's because it's the general store. Can kind of see the construction going across. It's a little hard to tell. Just a lot of beam work. And draw that black coming out here, because, you know, again, no one would be able to see really inside. It would be pretty blinding. Alright, so we have our general store. Let's get that thatching going on. Just bring it out a little bit. Same on the awning. It'll be much more pronounced here in the back. So, you know, do what you will. Okay, so here we go. We have our line work set out for just about everything. The constabulary area kind of overlooked here, but it's a square building, so it's got a couple of different add-ons and stuff going on that makes it a little bit different. I presume it's a completely stone building. Why wouldn't it be? But they've got a rooftop thing going on here. Looks pretty sizable, and they've also got an offshoot. But yeah, we'll go ahead and get this little bird's nest or whatever it is going on up here. It's got its own little vibe, which means this whole area back here would be saturated black coming off of that morning light. Yeah, it's right like that. And we can kind of bring this off some. Yeah, same with over here. Okay. We've got all of that shit covered. Got all our features, and now we need to give it that certain special splash. I'm talking about color. Okay. So I'm reaching for my typical pack here. You know, your standard Crayola set. And I'm gonna pick out the common offenders. So you're gonna need a gray, you're gonna need a black. And then down there, hiding in the very back, you're gonna need a brown. See what's good here? Alright. So our story takes place in midsummer, so all of these areas around here would also be green. So go ahead and pick out a range of greens. I would suggest something in the middle, something light, yeah, something dark. So here we go. You can kind of see what I'm dealing here with the contrast. Moves up. This one might actually not be dark enough. I picked up Screamin' Green. I don't think Screamin' Green is going to do it for me. So I'm actually going to reach for the much, much darker Legit Green. So I've got Legit Green, Yellow Green, Electric Lime. You can hear the Alan Parsons Project playing in the background, so that's always good news. So just like we've done with pretty much everything in the past, let's go ahead and get these hard saturated lines going on along the roadside. Yeah, just like that. Let's get that on the other side as well. Just following the lines, coming around the well here. Okay, and then now we're just gonna do like we had done last week with our practice. We're gonna lay it flat, and we're gonna bring it out. There you go. You can see how that line on the side helps draw the separation from the environment to the actual texture. That's called pixel popping. Now we would typically have area for a wagon moving in and out, so we're going to put a couple more hard lines moving through here. We're not going to cover up our type with it. Just note. Okay, so we have these footpaths, but footpaths are going to be a little lighter than your typical brown, so I'm pulling out desert sand, and as opposed to doing these hard lines, I'm just going to do a harder texture overall. Okay, well, it looks like light sand is a little lacking in the color department, and so I am going to probably have to kind of come in with this a little bit. We've reached our first design dilemma. Let's go ahead and keep it consistent. Let's do the hard lines on the side. You know, there's no reason not to now. Yeah. And then we'll fill it with desert sand. Bring it around just like that. Don't forget about this offshoot. It kind of comes around. Oh, I can feel that I just broke the crayon. Felt it just snap in my hands right now. Thank goodness for its little paper wrapping, or it'd definitely be in two pieces right now. So I'm drawing this back across. Alan Parsons' project guided me the whole way through. Yeah, alright, just like that. Okay, so now we've got our desert sand that I was talking about earlier, and you can kind of see how it's this mochaccino color. Go as heavy as you want with this sumbitch. It is not that dark, but to help give you some resources to play with. Okay, perfect. I'm rotating the desert sand crown as I fill in, so you can see I'm keeping that sharp. You can see the light reflecting at that point right there. All right, take it through. Yes, just like that. Yeah, and we're bringing it back across here. Getting this last of the footpaths. Okay. So we've got our footpaths. The well would be a very highly concentrated area of just footwork, and so I'm going to give it its own brown area kind of going on, but actually I think I'm going to make that gray. You know, you'd want stone around your wells. Just bring that across. Like I said, it'll get lighter on this side, so kind of bring it out here. Right where this well is, we've got, you know, our established gradient here in terms of where our shadows are going to be pushing, so just give that a little push. Perfect. Oh, I can hear Alan Parsons project again. I honestly think this might be stuck on... Yeah, it's not random at all. Like, these songs are just a little bit on the predictable side. I'm going to turn mine up a little bit. The only problem with that, it means I have to keep talking because they will flag my videos if they pick up too many lyrics, and I'm not about that life. So now we're starting with our greens, and we're really going to use this light green over here in the garden. You know, help build that separation, and then we're going to use that regular green pretty much everywhere else, if I'm being totally honest. We'll use a little bit of this green over here, and then we'll transition to other greens throughout. So since we have the east here, let's go ahead and lay that on its side and start drawing it out. Yeah, you gotta shake the whole table, but don't worry, it's supposed to happen. Yeah, just like that. Going over here as well. Got a little bit over here, and then a little bit over here. And then at that point, I think we should start transitioning to our yellow-green. So I'm going to lay it down. We'll pick up the yellow-green here. You know, we would probably see the first couple of signs of it around this green, and so I'm going to kind of come around this back side, and I'm going to start layering this green. Those are not time sensitive.
Oh, okay.
It was more about completion than it was immediacy.
Nice.
Currently using, oh, that's a really dark area. We can see it coming under that stable. So let's get that dark, dark green. Come back over on this east side with our yellow green. I'll fade that in a little bit. You can always make something darker. It's a lot harder to make something lighter. So I'm going to also kind of do that maneuver over here, just on this back side of the garden. Kind of bring it in and around.
Hi, Twitch.
And then let's go over to this next spot of grass. Help give it that volume by bringing in this dark just a little bit. Same with over here, starting with our yellow-green.
I feel like your viewers know more about this campaign than I do. You know?
Yeah, that is an accurate statement. Yes.
I'm not supposed to know though, am I?
I mean, you can know the stuff about this town. I mean, I'm not giving away any plot points. I'm just talking about how to draw it and the concepts you need to turn what little time you have into a good map, because I'm noticing a lot that people are just using prefabs, and it's like, well, there's nothing wrong with prefabs. I use 2-minute tabletop, and I think those are just fine, but it shouldn't be your first resort, I don't think. You know, you should at least have some map making tools at your disposal. A lot of that comes with, at least for me, I would need to see somebody do it first. And I'm lucky that I did see somebody do it. My maps get better when I see two-minute tabletops maps or Elven Towers maps. I go, oh, I should be pushing my design further this way. I should be doing this. And I'm just another level. If all you have are some Crayola crayons and a Sharpie, you can make high-quality maps with very little art instruction and understanding. Right now we're just trying to help get this value situated a little bit right, so I'm using my true green and I'm coming off to draw and make some the Yawning portal is now a couple of paw prints richer. So, going back in here again.
What are you doing?
So what do you guys want to talk about?
Why didn't you take your girlfriend out?
That's a good one. I don't know.
You're taking a now?
Yeah, I was definitely passed out. We did receive a visit today from a tobacco program communicator who's doing some polling and research about tobacco studies in Arkansas.
Did you tell him to go fuck off?
No, but I said today was definitely not the day that I wanted to entertain that. I was also in my underwear when I opened the door. And she was down to talk.
Living your best life.
And,
I mean, that poor lady.
I just told her to come back this weekend if she was making more rounds, because I want to assist. I'm very eager to help out any sort of tobacco. I think the more taxes we can levy on tobacco, the better.
Wait, is she trying to sell tobacco?
No, she's doing polling example to help the state make informed tax protocol decisions. So,
good, dude.
all for it.
I was gonna say, this bitch thinks she's coming up in a nurse's house. That nurse who has asthma.
Oh yeah, I was out of the gate. I was like, none of us are smokers, so I don't know that we're gonna fit your criteria line. She's like, oh, that's okay. We're not looking for smokers. We're
just looking for humans.
Yeah, trying to gauge what our communities.
Without worrying about if I can breathe or not.
Yeah, that's a good point made by Asphodel there.
I saw multiple children today hanging out with their parents while the parents were smoking outside the
Speaking of which, if you like what I'm doing here, we do have a promotional poster that's going to be set out upon the town here pretty soon, featuring Asphodel herself. I don't have a link up yet, but I'll have it in the video description after I go ahead and publish this. I'll actually just post it now.
Yeah.
Got
Who's just viewing us?
Oh, who knows? Just give me Shanye. Call to the Fae. So we're calling it Call to the Fae, and you can pick it up a couple of places. Write down a couple of URLs. Oh, that's not a good one.
What?
JK, don't go there. No. That was an accident. Okay. Paste in the real link.
Nice.
Alright, so yeah. If you want to go pick up some Ruins of Adventure merch, you can head over to Vintage Press, or you can get on Etsy.
Are you an Etsy dealer now?
No. Vintage presses, though.
Alright, and here's that link as well. I want to encourage you guys to get these posters. They're handmade, hand-screen printed, original artwork, all by me.
I like that you put the names on there because that will make me way less annoyed when I have to remember where buildings are.
Yeah.
That's a good decision.
It's a pretty big poster.
Stay off our phones during D&D.
No, it's not that. I just can't. I'm not good at drawing maps. So I forget where things are. It's a big whole situation.
Yeah, big whole situation. Alright,
And
so
then I asked Billy 17 times where things are.
that was something we've been harping on in the past broadcasts, is giving players enough visual information to save a lot of the questions, because one thing I think that's really important for new DMs starting out, and I've certainly pushed the limits of people on this, DM fatigue. It gets hard answering questions. It's not very fun. I don't ever really feel like I'm doing my best work when I'm just constantly being plied with inquiries, and I get burnt out. I just want to progress the story, and some people will really kind of keep you down with that. And so I've been trying to instruct people on the importance of keeping these details here. Alright, so we've pretty much fleshed out, as you can see, with color, an entire road map. And so, let me check the frame here. But yeah, now we're going to start with these actual buildings, and we're going to fill in a little bit of color, and then we're going to color code our destinations. So
You're doing what earlier?
I had talked about...
I heard that, and I was just kind of letting it go.
I had talked about doing some thatched roofs, so that means we're going to have kind of a grade of brown. So again, I'm going to start with desert sand here, and I'm just going to give everything a healthy coat. And I'm going to start with Old Bore Inn. And then I'm going to... coating the back is going to be less important because we've already got so much texture, and we'll just be able to saturate that around. So now I'm pressing pretty hard with my brown. Bring these thatches up off and into life. Start more saturated, and then let it bring out as we get closer to this sunlight, and then you can let the strokes kind of separate out and become a little more visible and recognizable. On this backside though, all saturated all the time. Sorry if my head got in the shot there, I wasn't trying to block your view.
Should I start an Instagram for my cross stitch?
I don't see why not.
Some people Twitch it.
I don't think Twitch would have a very good community for cross
They
stitching.
actually do.
Really?
I'd say it's a big creative community.
My sister does it from Alaska.
Interesting. I mean, I know it's soothing to watch. It's like knitting that way too. Having some sort of visual repetitive movement.
Yeah. Alright, so bringing it across here. I thought about classifying this artwork as creative, but I've noticed that Dungeons & Dragons programming do not keep the same thing going on. They actually plug all of their stuff as Dungeons & Dragons, so if I expect to really compete on the same scale of notice and attention, I'll keep it with this. But this is just while I'm drawing maps, guys. I'll always keep up my digital paintings, and we'll get back to that as soon as I can get some of this campaign work done. And I'll see what days I can sacrifice off and try and focus. I think I'm going to be removing a little bit more Battlefield 1 from my programming.
If we could all just take a moment of silence.
Simply because I'm going competitive with that, so actually streaming it isn't that fun because I need to be in a practice environment, which means I can't be talking all the fucking time. And it's kind of what this medium dictates. But I'm excited to just adjust some stuff around and try and bring even more options. But I had come out with my winter schedule thinking that, this is going to be set in stone, but we're actually right on the precipice of being able to launch our advanced campaign and our programming on here. So we're still sorting through the scheduling details as far as that's concerned, but as soon as that happens, I'll be updating the page, and that'll also take up a time slot so you guys can see these maps in action. They are quite well used.
Look at how fun we are. Look at our
definitely.
fun faces.
Look at our fun faces.
Not real faces.
There we go. Just like that.
Are real faces?
No. Your character faces. You know, unlike some of the more popular talents, we're going to be keeping a solid air of anonymity. And, you know, I give it up to Satine and all those other girls and Girl Scouts Glory and Matt Mercer and everyone else and Sirens and, you know, name it. That's also happening right now. Some Sirens in the Realms. You know what? We should probably tune in over to them, see what they're doing.
Yeah. You can host them, can't you?
No. I do not have anywhere near that level. Right now we're currently trying to get into the someone else letting us host. Or not letting us host, letting them host us. And that'll be our first kind of accolade we're all going to be aiming for is getting out there. And it's hard to watch some of our peers, you know, not reach that zenith. You know, I've noticed that. True Neutral and a couple of other programs, you know, they haven't been picked up. And that can be disheartening because, you know, I consider those to be good games. What's happening. But I think a lot of it just comes down to how seriously are you going to take the whole spectrum art. And I can tell with them they're a lot more about the role play than they are about some of the visual successes and some of the more adult successes. And that is where we step in. We like saying fuck.
Oh, do we?
We like killing.
Oh, do we? I love killing.
So, you know, I think we have certain deviations on the formula that will draw people to this. Okay, so if you can kind of see, we have just about everything on here. We kind of need to do some of these flowers, so I'm going to put, you know, a yellow bulb inside of there. I'm going to grab a violet and kind of do this flower over here. We have a cherry.
That's fair.
So let's give the cherry a little bit of blush here.
Are you painting asphodel fields?
I'm not, but there is a secret garden you can gain access to and learn a little bit more about this area. The other group just kind of glossed over it a little bit. To be expected. So we'll see what you guys can do. And I'll go ahead and make this other flower.
Wait, are you talking about
pink
us?
petals.
Or
No.
are you talking about the
Talking about the
babies?
coffee bros.
The babies?
Yeah.
I'm going to call them that until they redeem themselves.
The virgins?
So
only two
anyway,
of them are virgins.
That we know of.
No, I meant.
I'm going to give a hard nonverbal right here.
Is it a hard nonverbal that you're verbalizing?
So we've got pretty much everything set up here, but now we need to actually color code these areas. Oh, I see that we left the constabulary here a little bare, and we said that was stone, so just pull out your gray, bring it across, go from saturated to less saturated as you come across the building facade. Yeah, just like this. Alright, and then go in with your dark green and help keep these grassy areas consistent. Alright, so we've got our Midsummer Oakhurst here. Now let's color code each of them.
Jack, I could have gotten into a fight.
Congratulations to whomever that is.
How cute.
Shocked.
Correct.
Good job.
Listen,
I'm gonna
pals.
clean up my space a little bit here so I can choose some colors easier. I'm not going to put the gray, black, or brown back in the box just because they were kind of a pain in the ass to get out.
Here at Illyria, we don't put people in boxes.
But I'll start with green and red, orange and blue.
What? I wasn't here.
So as far as green is concerned, I use green to represent shops and the like. So I'm going to come around this edge on the general store. Let people know that this is a place to trade. Lightly fill in the middle. General store. Same for Blacksmith. Bring it around saturated, less saturated in the middle. Okay. So that brings us to our red areas, which are going to be... Oh, we forgot the stables. It's another shop.
Your color. Oh my god, Billy, this is so great.
Okay, so now let's get into our red. Red is going to represent healing, so I'm going to get the actual healer. Alright, fill it in just a little bit. I'm going to get the old boar in. Alright. Now we've got our places of special interest. I'm going to use orange for that, and then I'm going to use blue for the side quest.
Orange is blue.
So, areas of interest.
French.
Alright, bring that across.
That's so rude.
Alright, we'll do the mayor's office with that as well. Let's fill that in a little bit. Alright, and lastly, our blue hit the constabulary and hit the garden.
Le jardin.
It's an apartment complex in Springfield. Okay, so here we have it. We have it color-coded. We have everything kind of moved around, so this completes our first portion. Let's take a break and see what's good.
What's good, Miley?
About halfway through.
Miley, what's good?
Get my crayons kind of packed up a little bit here as I shift the frame.
Your what?
I also need to blow my nose.
Gross.
Got the runnies from drinking a hot drink. To be expected. I'm going to take my crayons off a little bit here. Okay.
I know I just done this to you, but...
I'm going to flip this upside down. Keep it in the frame so you guys can see it. Alright. Yeah, right there seems pretty good. Let me get my crayon box up here.
Your what?
Alright, so this area is going to represent the Ashen Plain. And let's see this. Alright. It'll stretch out this way, culminating in some sort of exit over here into the ravine.
The what?
I'm going to try and bring the old road up and through here. And I would again consult the 3.5 book because, and I'll show you the page on Tales. But you don't really get a clear understanding of where you're going or how you get there. It's all a little vague. This is about the only map that they actually afford you. Sorry, trying to find a good angle here.
Oh, there you go.
And it doesn't really tell you how you get to this point. I mean, there's a mention on the preceding page right here about the ravine, but this is the cover of the 3.5. It's actually got a lot more of that information, so I would recommend going there. But I'm treating the Ashen Plain as an area where I can actually bring up some of the story elements or bring up some of the character motivation elements. And I'm going back online to Google that image. And you can kind of see an overland map that comes up right up to the area. I'm going to screenshot that. Okay, so we have our overland map. Kablam. Just find it on Google. You can kind of see how it travels down through here towards where we're going. Alright, I'm going to go blow my nose. We'll readjust after this. Thanks for joining us so far. Make sure to check the comments. We've got some awesome merch that's finally on sale, and I like it a lot. We're joined today with some voices by a couple of our upcoming players. They're going to be doing Tales from the Yawning portal. And so they're going to provide some tasteful commentary while I'm out doing some stuff.
That's a heavy tasteful.
I'm going to
heavy tasteful.
just point it at the map and let y'all listen.
Oh, good. Alright. So,
Are
Asphodel.
you actually praying instead of blowing your nose?
No.
So, Asphodel, what new you said you've been listening to some new podcasts lately that I haven't
Oh,
been
yeah.
listening to.
So, NPR has one called How I Built This,
Mm-hmm.
and it talks to people in different industries. Like today I listened to Warby Parker because I actually have a shipment coming from them soon now that I have my own vision insurance.
My vision insurance comes in soon too. It's like the
adult. Hashtag vision insurance. Hashtag excited to see. Hashtag migraine care.
Oh my god.
I actually didn't know. I guess I had like a chip on my shoulder about designer handbags and Kate Spade. And Kate Spade actually started out of their apartment in the 90s. And
you were listening to that one too?
Yeah, and it just like really, because I always get on to my other nurse friends who are like, I have to have a Kate Spade. And I'm like, I mean, okay. But I mean, I'm that way about certain brands. Right.
I know.
I can't go a day without something Betsy Johnson.
That's true.
But it actually made me respect Kate Spade a lot more, instead of just seeing it as this mogul. But apparently Kate Spade sold the brand in 2005 and is now producing handbags under Kate Valentine. So.
Intéressant.
But anyway, yeah, they have it about Instagram, Airbnb, Warby Parker, Kate Spade, Eileen Fisher. Just a bunch of well-known lore. That's one of my other favorite.
Lore's one of the only podcasts that I listen to.
I don't know. There's just something about the NPR podcasts that are so good.
Yeah.
I've tried to. I always listen to Kid Craddock in the morning when I get ready.
She does. I can verify this.
Religiously.
Yeah.
But I mean, I've just done that since high school, so it's kind of a ritual at this point. But yeah, there's just something relaxing about listening, because I listen to music all day at work.
I've been listening to a lot of audiobooks. I just listened to the Jim Dale, one of the Harry Potters.
Which Outlander?
And then, well, I'm...
Which Outlander now?
I just finished one.
Jamie! Claire! Jamie!
It's read by this lady who's, like, super nice. Her name is, like, Valentina Porter or something. It's something with a V Porter. No, Davina Porter. She's super great, but my Audible comes in...
Does she say it like, Claire!
No, her accents are not great. Her accents are okay. Like, her British is okay. Her Scottish is fine. Her American is dreadful, but I love it anyways.
Why?
I just like it. But,
Jamie! Kesselich! Claire! Crane Doom! I mean, I feel like I could be a person. Like, if I didn't stutter and have astigmatism.
And if having an astigmatism have to do with it?
My eyes do a stutter step.
Me too.
And so I'll read the wrong words.
Oh, is that why that happens?
Yeah, that's why I don't like reading out loud, because my eyes move around.
I'm an idiot.
But when Warby Parker sponsors me, I'll talk about them more when they deliver my glasses.
Yeah.
So to bring things back on topic here.
Okay, well, you told us to
speak.
Right.
It's very good input about everything from
Can I just say
Kate Spade's origins.
Can I just say
to some popular podcasts going around.
Claire, Jamie.
So you're trying to provoke a certain amount of reactions out of the people coming up, and even though it doesn't necessarily mention this in the book, without divulging too many details with certain players in the room, you need to set the tone early for just what exactly they're going to be up against. And so I'm going to add some skulls on pikes here.
Skulls on pikes.
Skulls on pikes.
Skulls on pikes.
And I'm just drawing little not little signs, some sticks. On top of that, kind of fill it up. And you'll be able to use whatever you use for an action point here. But I'm going into a footpath.
Do you use yellow for your action points, Billy?
When you're determined... No, I don't use it yellow. I use green tokens. I think I have it here.
Oh, I thought you meant like you were going to mark them on the... Never mind. Don't worry about it. I've seen some.
It's more for the viewers. And I got these way back in the day. Back when 4th edition was still going. And
do you mark it in yellow?
let me see here. I got some of the tokens going on. But
Do get it, Madeline.
Yeah, here you
Do
go.
I?
I use these action point tokens right here. I'll place those on areas where I think players should go, maybe try out some skills. Don't encourage people to round robin, penalize that activity, but, you know, if people actually understand the care you're putting into the plot and into the story and environment, they'll abide. Just like the dude abides.
Never seen that.
So moving back on.
Dude bobblehead at his desk. What does that mean?
He just likes the Big Lebowski and his tripped acid.
That's probably fair. Like,
yeah.
I would not.
So, what's more important to do than the enemies in this particular circumstance? Because in the book, it outlines a couple of constraints for this. Make this an obstacle problem. Use your environment to draw people to certain signs or certain features to, one, provide a sense of confusion, but also if you've got a highly competitive group, this will get multiple people to waste their time and energy doing this, because what is ahead is a long dungeon crawl.
God.
And this will help break the spirit early.
That are not ghosts, Billy. Please don't break our
That's
spirits.
the only way that you're going to get, you know,
True competition spirit.
solid, heart-rending character deaths. And
Billy,
I'd like to point
how dare you.
I'd like to point to something new. I might actually go to the screen on this.
Alright.
Something really neat came out today. Yeah, let me go ahead and I'm going to switch my views after I go. Alright, and welcome back to this part of the program where I draw shit.
Nice! Did you guys see Australia voted yes on marriage equality? I'm sure y'all both saw it, but just in case here.
I was kind of unconscious for a large portion of my day.
Well, Australia voted yes on marriage equality.
Well, it just took up the evening, and so I missed a lot of transitions.
If we could have our viewers define a power nap, just so we can prove you wrong.
Power nap was under 2 hours,
20
thank
minutes.
Power nap for you was 4 hours.
you. No, I went to bed or I tried to start going to bed
Better power nap.
at 5, power nap at 5, but was interrupted twice.
Hard work and lemon.
And my sleep report on my Fitbit app will corroborate this.
Okay, Fitbit tells you you're sleeping when you're just lying down.
No, it doesn't. I don't have that.
Okay.
I'll show you.
Okay.
As someone with an incredibly low heart BPM, we're gonna take a look into my Fitbit.
Into the world of your Fitbit.
Motherfuck.
What is it?
Put on Bluetooth, so it'll actually sync.
Remember when we had Fitbit together?
So this was, for example, last night. It doesn't put me going to sleep until I'm actually asleep. And that starts around 3 a.m. And then I woke up 4 times this morning to just wake up and do some minor things, email, social media, get reads.
Was there a 7 a.m. wake up?
There was, yeah.
What was your heart rate at then?
Really
At then?
peak and acute.
Because it kicked you really hard.
I can't really get that level of detail, but, you know, I can see a good bit here. So.
One time we almost died.
So when we went to New Orleans for our graduation trip, the Wisp and Asphodel imbibed heavily in some New Orleans poison. And
So I won't get a better, but the main thing it notes here is that it wasn't able to track my sleep because I need more than 3 hours to track it.
Okay.
Shows not 1, not 2, but 4 awake periods.
W/E, bruh.
So
some of us don't nap.
my total sleep time was for 2 hours and 13 minutes.
But your total laying down #power nap.
Was for an extra 30.
Oh my god, I'm sending you guys the funniest meme I've ever seen.
Alright, so going back to this overland map, we've got our heads on a pike here.
Heads on a pike. Heads on a pike.
I lost my insights. Let me get back to the chat feed.
Please look at the meme.
I'm playing Bubble Witch.
Alright, so.
Who?
Oof, that was a good one.
That's gonna just fuck me up always.
Bringing the environment as our first line of defense. To kind of help scare the players into submission.
Are you... I wasn't paying attention. Are you trying to threaten me?
No. Not what I believe in.
Motivation.
I can be your motivation.
So, right here it notes a very important feature that I'm not going to say out loud, but go ahead and include those. How you want to note the runes, I think, you know, could be subject to creative disposition, however you want to, but just make sure that they are included. They seem to be a really cool feature of this part of the map. And then I'm just going to note the actual ravine starting by drawing a line effectively right here. Kind of bring it in. I'm going to let the ravine create kind of like a strong presence on this side of the plane.
I feel like this is one of those epitome situations.
Okay, so
I went to school with a girl.
now like I said, we're going to have these 3 areas.
That is incredible.
#public school.
We're going to bring it into an area over here first.
She argued it.
No!
She also wrote a term paper with
About Black?
No, about President Obama.
Oh,
apostrophe Obama.
You know.
In a 10-page.
Oh, apostrophe my god.
It's not the worst idea I've ever heard.
Hashtag she had an adult help her with it.
So I'm going to create...
Oh, apostrophe, my God.
I don't really want a lot of gaps on this.
Oh, apostrophe bomb.
So when you build the gaps, you know, note a geological reason. Maybe I think I might go with some drops personally. All right, and I'm bringing this across. Let's get really thin right there. This is an area where you're going to have to force an acrobatics check out of them, most likely.
Excuse you.
And then bring it back down.
I think I have.
Let this area come back and join. Maybe another gap right there. What do we want to do with this area? Let's make it confusing. Okay, just bring it in right like that.
I still would do it, yes.
Okay, so we know that this is a plane, but we also know why it's a plane. So let's go ahead and throw in some of these dangerous areas I was talking about. Start with this one, and how do you note ravine drops? You gotta actually draw some of these contours. And make sure that each line is straight and you're changing the angle on the line as you come around. And I'm just going to connect up to these places.
The queen is retiring to her quarters.
Oh.
Will the king join us later?
Very possibly.
I mean, yes or no?
If it's late again, no, because I felt really guilty.
You should, because you kept me up.
Yeah, I'm not okay with that. If I took ZQL last night, it still took 2 hours, but I'm going to keep doing it until I get back on track here. My sleeping habits aside, I'm going to add some more of these ravine drops. I'm going to take those around. We want people to feel like they have to go and explore everything or they're going to miss something. And it's through providing those feints that you can make people feel done with combat or done with certain areas. That fart brought to you courtesy of Asphodel.
I was laughing!
Even the Feywild farts.
I was going to talk about it!
I hope so.
Or blame the dog! God damn it!
I'm not blaming the dog.
I do!
Alright, so we're going to draw these contours heavily down.
Oh my god!
You know, use varying line weights to help draw.
Can we just alert the people, the masses, to the reason why I laughed so hard I fluctuated? Where is it?
I mean, we're close. We're looking at the delay.
Oh.
Alright, and it says, the hardest part of being a Capricorn is the chronic tenderness in my testes and foreskin.
From the constant intercourse.
It's honestly scary how on the head that is.
That's why I started laughing so
On
hard
the head?
earlier.
Yeah.
Are you making
I'm never making puns.
phallic puns?
No.
Or is that just a fallacy?
Fallacy. Alright, so I'm making some more of these contour lines. Night. Provide some of these deviations here. Let's bring some of that ravine action over here as well.
I can't see that.
Rollerblades in the therapist
Oh yeah.
office.
Coming on down.
That's
So
what
let's
I was
continue
thinking.
to add these contour lines because it is a depression as we travel further into things. Here's some wings.
Okay. I may go to the hockey
That's
game by
right.
myself.
The Razorbacks are on the ice again this week with a 2-day bit of programming. Seems as though they're playing both Friday and Saturday here from the University of Arkansas. There's some other cool stuff going on this week as well. Native American Student Association has a bevy of events, and I slept through it today, but Cherokee Nation had a cooking class that was webcasted.
Ooh.
So it's nice to know that all of my people are into this shit. think keeping these kind of methods of education and communication alive are really important, and it seems to be a shared community goal.
Really, I cooked dinner.
Yeah.
Dinner.
There was some dinner cooking. I heard it.
I made one of the 3 things I know how to make, and I used a knife without killing myself.
But we're expanding it, and telegrams.
Yep.
Shows like Binging with Babish and Munchies have really helped us expand our repertoire and kind of help define our palate and taste.
Me?
The Wisp and I watch a lot of cooking programs together, and I know that Binging with Babish is new to Twitch, and he's still doing some programming. I haven't had a chance to tune in, but quite honestly I should, because I like hanging with him. I'm hopeful to bring in some cooking program before here too long.
I can teach them how to make one of the 3 things I know how to make.
Cooking programs we love equal 1 Binging with Babish, and 2 Munchies. Not that anyone was hyper curious.
I am.
Or just, watching.
Oh, well. You don't know. Don't assume.
I'm not trying to. We had a good following earlier. I had 6 people watching for about 30 minutes.
Nice.
Yeah. I think because of the nature of the program, this is kind of
come and go.
Not come and go, but a specific. But everyone in the community has been really welcome to the things I've been trying to do, and I'm happy to report that everyone from the senior art developer at Dungeons & Dragons and Wizards of the Coast for Magic the Gathering, Richard.
Richard?
I want to say Weber. I want to say it's Whitaker, but it might just be Whittier. Anyway.
Whittier?
He's been liking my stuff.
Nice.
And they've all been liking it, and DM Satine as well, so
I like DM Satine. I trust DM Satine.
I am especially grateful that they're at least appreciative that I'm doing this, but I don't think we're going to find our hot and heavy audience until we start streaming you guys and people start going, where are these maps? Well, you can, in the future, order them from me. But as for right now, I invite you to make them with me, but I will, hopefully in the future, once I get our Patreon set up this week, be able to fundraise for an industrial size scanner, because these are 18 by 24. You kind of missed what was out of frame going on over there, but I was
just filling in some black.
Filling in some of the ravine. Let me point it to you.
So we're not gonna have our faces on the stream?
We will.
Oh, okay.
Due to some good community input, we found that we'll actually be showing your heads and faces the entire time. And what will be important is, just like I've done with this stream, and this is why I'm getting myself used to it, using my left hand to adjust the camera angle multiple places, using the transition, and that'll be kind of how it goes.
Simple.
Very cool. Vendrasi, unfortunately, even though he's a friend of what we do, he's not able to view because of his work hours and his web restrictions while he's at work. So. They didn't have it like that always, and he used to tune into my stuff, and it was very nice. But we're kind of still just filling in these dark areas of the ravine and trying to help the Ashen Plain become that ashy, terrible disaster. Now, again, I'm not going to drop the name of the available threats that the book provides you in here just because of certain company in the room.
Just do it.
No.
You know I'm not going to read up on them.
You know them. You've met them before.
Okay, I've met a lot of people that I don't remember.
You would remember these.
Red Wizard, does it say?
No, we're not gonna get to that in this. But
thank God, because I'm not looking forward to that. Let the record show, I'm really not looking forward to our next run-in with the fucking Red Wizards.
Because of the creature's affiliations to certain factions within the greater universe, if you've got anyone that has ties to the Shadowfell or Feywild, make sure to write that bit into the story. I'll be doing that as well. And help draw some of those socio-political imbalances and make people who are just familiar with the prime material plane force choices. There might be some cases where I've seen that other characters, even though they might be down with certain outcomes in the end, would prefer to investigate or at least have their voice heard and what's going down. And so use these as a moment to kind of force some of that fantasy lore in there, even if it's just for nothing more than a fucking teachable moment.
Are you adding me?
No, I'm adding a lot of DMs, you know, that have
adding
trouble
me.
understanding when and how to express lore within the campaign. I think a lot of DMs make what I would consider to be a rookie mistake of expecting people to either read up on it, and if they don't read up on it when you give them the page numbers, then punishing them with just some merciless tactics. And I don't think you should. I think you should approach it a lot more from you know, if this is my moment. I didn't watch a lot of professional wrestling growing up, but I understand the pros of a soap opera, so make it very theatrical. You know, they're here, certain circumstance. And in this case, it doesn't give a ton of reason why they might be here until later, but let's just say that Belloc is going to be a great catapult and catalyst for any sort of story motives you might want to set up. So take that opportunity.
I feel like this is like, you know, in the fifth Harry Potter, when Umbridge is giving that speech and she like tells them all the shit she's gonna do. Yeah. And Ron and Harry are just like talking shit. And Hermione's like, "Didn't you hear her say this? This means this." I feel like that's what's happening right now, except I'm not being my true self. I'm being Ron right now.
Very funny. Very fair. I can hear some Tom Petty in the background. Rest in peace, Tom Petty. He came on the radio the other day.
Wait, did he die really?
Yeah, he died later that night.
Oh, that's terrible. I thought he was alive for a second.
No. As soon as people started telling me he's not dead yet, like literally as I changed all my stuff, it was, yes, he is effectively dead now. So we're going to add in a couple of things here because we need to accentuate the cataclysmic event that had happened leading up to this particular adventure. I'm going to throw in a geological deposit here and make a monolith. I haven't quite decided if I want to make it obsidian or some sort of shale or slate, but I'm going to draw it to leave myself the option.
With obsidian, you'd have to have volcanic activity in the region.
Correct. Well done. You figured out a clue.
Oh, saucy, please. Are we...
And we're going to add a couple of, you know, minor features, another jet here, and I'm just making these topographic lines because what we're going to do is we're going to use our color to help draw the saturation. But what we will need to do here, depending on the time they get here, I would say probably afternoon, is go ahead and do those shadows. And all that really means on this is going around this outside formation and giving it a heavy weight. Light coming straight down. And, you know, there's also going to be a lot of dust obscuring. It is the fucking Ashen Plain.
Yeah, so that doesn't stop me from seeing shit.
You're gonna have certain, and the Wisp is quick to note, if you've got certain players within the group that have these kinds, let them, you know, have their moment in the sun and have their class decisions or their race decisions exalted in these moments for these supernatural abilities. I think a lot of DMs are quick to be like, oh, well, it's got to be this way. And it doesn't. It can be very fantastical, and you can let people
have fun.
Not just have fun, but feel superior to their peers. I know it can develop nastier mechanics if expressed in the wrong ways at Coffee Bros.
Ooh.
But it can be done right. And,
like us.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
I think with this area, I'm also going to provide one of these monoliths. And so, again, you just got to change that heavy weight. And we didn't fuck up anything hard enough to where, you know, we wouldn't be able to undo. I'm just going to kind of make it look maybe a little bit like a petrified tree. Something that's jutted up out of the ground like that. And give it maybe a harsh edge right there.
I want to Google the Ashen Plain while I'm working tomorrow and probably get 0 results.
As far as it goes with over here, we've still got this viewpoint and kind of where it needs to go, but this area is going to be kind of obscured. And what we can kind of do with that is, again, provide another feature, and, you know, I'm going to make that one kind of hidden. You should be looking at each one of these intersections and thinking to yourself, where can I set up a trap? Where can I get something going that's going to help this adventure fall in the Dungeon Master's favor to keep that authority and fear healthy and palpable. And I would just encourage, you know, seeing these intersections, you're not going to be able to draw it, but make those mental reminders of that's where you want certain things. All right, so we've got our line work set up here, and it's looking fantastic. I'm a little over time, but I'll continue on and finish this because I've got to use it tomorrow, possibly.
Oh, are the copyrights playing tomorrow?
Still waiting on the confirmation, but when it comes through, I'll be quick on the information.
Asphodel and I are not going to be here tomorrow night.
I am aware. Doing some birthday celebrating for Asphodel. She crosses her 3rd century.
What?
Ha ha ha.
Oh, I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot.
Fey people joke.
Alright, listen, we can't all be fey people. Bud.
Oh, I'm aware. I'm going to bring this line up here and make it just a little bit bold. I'm kind of seeing a lack of separation coming off of that.
Thank you for
consent. So this area still would have dirt, but it wouldn't be brown colored in terms of a saturated value. We might have some like rusty red, but I'm going to use brown for that. But I'm not going to do it past a light point. And I think it would mostly be expressed in the areas where people would step. So I'm just going to lightly come through here. Don't color your skulls if you can help it, because you can't make them any whiter than they already are. Using the color of the paper for my effective, brightest value. And just like we've been practicing up to this point, I'm using the side and then peeling down as I go. I mentioned earlier that I broke this one, so I'm going to do just a little bit. We've got it on its side and we're rotating it as we're filling in this color to keep it sharp without having to go to a sharpener. I'm just using my elbow. You don't have to be grounded. True, there is a sharpener, but as we noted in an earlier episode, not as good of a sharpness if you just do the rotation method. It is substandard.
Simple, but...
Yeah. So we're just kind of going across here, getting this light tint.
I'm going to do 3 poinsettias and then I'm going to get into the bed.
Purely using my elbow and shoulder, just as we've been practicing. This is kind of what I've been talking about, getting that muscle memory. You don't need to be anchored. You don't need your hand to do the drawing. You don't need to worry if you've got arthritis. A lot of the problems with people trying to draw in the modern era is they had bad instruction. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of go gray on these perimeter areas and help draw the dusty feature. Kind of help this separation get in turn. Yeah, just like that. Bringing it back up and through. Some really good music playing on the Spotify right now. We're listening to the Hollies with Long Cool Woman in a Black Dress. This is on my Shucks playlist that we're listening to on Spotify right now. Now this is an area where we'll be able to use the brown a little more effectively in terms of showing the exposed earth. So let's go in on these deep down areas and just bring up that brown real saturated. Help people understand what's going on down there. It's a drop. You goober.
Oh, is this? That's definitely at me. I pretty regularly try to run off shit. You guys want me to talk about some of my adventures or misadventures? Whilst I'm here.
As long as you can keep it topical with some of the artistic decisions that went into it, absolutely.
Oh, let me think. I'm gonna talk about the coolest thing I've ever done, but that's not. You know, the thing I always talk about.
Mm-hmm. And because it would be getting darker underneath, go ahead and I kind of did this backward. Oh, it actually just broke on me. Embrace this opportunity. Completely take the wrapping off.
I hope you know, B, that's what I'm getting you for every holiday from from now until forever.
If I could make a request,
Yeah.
that it be for paper instead, because that is what I run out of the most. And these pads aren't that expensive. This is only $7, but it goes a long way.
Okay.
I think a lot of people are quick to give me art supplies, but as we can note by our hallway right now, sometimes the art supplies are given more than the medium, and what is harder to keep in stock is the medium.
That's true.
So what was your favorite map you've ever played on? We've been on some cool maps.
We have. I really liked, not just because I'm looking at it, it was just one of my favorite maps to play on, just in terms of excitement about where it was going to turn out. The, I guess Choose Your Own Adventure is what I would call it, from the Dual Arcana, which you can show them because it's already over there.
Oh, are you talking about the temple run?
Yeah? Yeah. Here, look, I can show some features. Oh my gosh, really crazy, but that's fine. Hi, stream. So you started here, and then you could pick one of the 3 doors, and then you rolled dice to decide which one we were going to be in, right?
No.
Oh. Never mind. I just went through the same door multiple times, I guess, which was dumb. But you pick a door, and it would come out somewhere.
You never played that one.
Yeah, I did.
No, only Ractalise and Sir Forster got to the end.
Oh, yeah, and Sir Forster. Yep, alright. I was going to talk some shit, but that's not... Yeah, I did. No, I played this map.
You never went on. You were X'd out in the ones just below that. You see that pyramid?
Oh, I fucking
along with the Powerball Court, the Lap, and the Ham Bike. Those 4 maps in the middle.
Yeah.
That was where you lost.
I passed that.
Yeah.
And that.
It was purely that pyramid where you guys got beat.
Okay, but that was... okay, that's true. But that was one of my favorite maps. It just seemed really fun to play. Because you would get...
We'll be having it coming back up at this next Dual Arcana, and I'll be posting about those event details on Facebook at ruinsofadventure.com.
Ass.
As we see.
It's very cool. I'm a big fan. Very pro. Very pro that map, because it was like you would walk through a door and then you would have to... It was kind of like when we used the DM cards, like the old 2E DM cards.
We had it done like Legends of the Hidden Temple, the old Nickelodeon cartoon show.
Sure.
Cartoon show, live action contest.
I was going to say.
Game show. Live action contest.
Live action contest. Roleplay. Lacquer.
I guess you could have a passive contest. Everyone just occasionally chiming in.
I suppose.
Alright, so since you didn't get to play on that map, let's go back to that question.
Okay, well, that was one of my favorite maps. I might pick another one, the Dual Arcana, honestly. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm trying to think of, like, what's...
Figuring one that you could actually tell a story about.
That's fair. I liked that map, actually. Right, that was the one with the spiders?
Altond?
Yeah. Sure. That guy.
Altond. That's from Rise of Tiamat.
Yeah.
Right there.
So, you came down from this way, which we came down from here, and then I accidentally killed... I mean, accidentally on purpose. I didn't really know who he was. I had a suspicion, but I didn't know for certain. Accidentally on purpose killed Hiawatha's brother.
No, that's a different map.
No, it's not. That was
yes,
the map.
It is. This is not. In Altond, you guys killed the...
That was the spiders, right?
Yeah, that killed the consular that lied and had been helping Narenbane, but no.
I thought that was when I killed Narenbane.
No.
Never mind. Okay, I killed that consul. Clearly, I'm very indiscriminate on my killing. And then we came down here, and then there were big old spiders that were happening, like mech spiders, kinda. And I got to kill a whole lot of spiders because that was right. I think that was right when I got my. When I got the ability, the assassin ability, what's it called? The insta-kill.
I don't know. It's your class.
Yeah, alright. The insta-kill ability is what I refer to it as, where whenever I hit somebody, they have to make a con save throw versus, I think now it's a 21? Something ludicrous. And if they don't make it, they just die instantly. and I had just gotten I think I had just gotten either my multiple, like, dual action crossbow or my gun. I think I had just gotten my crossbow that could shoot 2 bolts per round. And
no, it was your gun.
No, it was the gun. It was the gun. I was wrong. And I killed a lot of spiders that day.
Yes, you did.
Helped save the day. And then, yeah, it's just a cool little map. I really like it. And then, didn't we use this one for, or did we use another one?
You guys voted it for the PvP Dual Arcana.
Yeah. And then I died, but it was a good fight to the death between me and Asphodel won, and that was super fair because Asphodel kicks major ass. I just couldn't get a shot on her.
The old can't kill what you can't see routine.
Yeah, it was brutal. Thank you for turning that around so you can't see my sad face.
Alright, so while she was telling that story, I've been working on the ravine features, and you can kind of see that I've got our ravines kind of coming up, and I've started filling in the gray with the Ashen Plain with a gray crayon and keeping it on its side and rotating as we go. Promote that healthy, natural sharpening. It also promotes drawing with your shoulder and elbow and not your hand.
It's like knitting that way.
Just going across these next couple of areas of the Ashen Plain with a solid opaque gray. I would say I'm going about 60% hard. I'm wanting the gray value to show up because that's going to be what we use for our highlight when we actually get to our black. We don't want this white, you know. It's supposed to look really dusty and bleak, and white gives off I don't know, this kind of air of reflection, and there's nothing shiny about this area. So in terms of where I'm going to place the black, I think I'm going to start kind of indiscriminately and just make some streaks for texture like they have been windblown. Yeah, just like this. You see what I'm doing here? You can see it kind of coming out and working.
That's where I did the cool thing, right? Or no? The coolest thing I've ever done, Billy?
No. Oh, yeah, that is. Yeah, that's Farblex's.
Yeah!
Farblex's layer.
Man, that was so cool.
That it was.
Literally the coolest thing I've ever done in D&D. Save that for another time when I can get B to tell that story because he's much better at telling it than I am.
It was pretty majestic. What I can say about our game is that these memories that we're making, you know, she kind of skipped a couple parts of either one in terms of what I had asked her to talk about, but these maps that I make create memories, and it creates these experiences that people feel like were real. And I don't see that present in a lot of other games, and I think it's because of these kinds of elements that we're covering right now. It's okay that I made this fuck-up stroke right here because we're going to end up going into that with black as well. So just let your hand keep moving out. But what was important about the one that she was referring to, what made this moment so cool, is it is a massive map complex. Each one, you know, we had color-coded areas, and this isn't the paper I like to draw on. I would prefer the Staples Stickies paper. I know you can get like an Office Depot and an Office Max version as well. I know one of those businesses don't exist anymore, but I can't remember which one. But it's just this gridded paper. But the problem is it's $40 fucking a pad. So unless we were willing to fundraise for it, which I've asked if people were and gotten no's back.
I didn't say no. I just was non-committal.
Yeah, that's a no in fundraising world. So we've just kind of stuck with this, and I've instead been doing the hot method. And as we get closer to our game day, I'm going to have a video and a stream expressly dedicated to conveying a lot of things about our game that's different. And I might do a Facebook Live with that one, or just direct to YouTube. I'm not sure, but I want to get that information in people's hands before they start watching this.
So they don't.
So there's not questions about our attack of opportunities or our spell points, our critical hit system.
Okay, I guess we moved away from the called shots, even though that was my favorite part, Billy.
You know, that was a big part of letting AD&D go, was getting rid of that level of customization. And though I'm not huge into that part. It was a broken system that only worked so long as I could subjugate every little detail of combat. No longer the case, since we have things like inspiration points, and since we have things like advantage. You can't.
I love advantage.
There's too many mechanics. They don't work well together. And, you know, our friend Iacomus Dionysus Al-Sharad, otherwise known as Tanaka the Nehushtan, I always say his name wrong, has been quick to point out that these systems were not made to play nice with each other.
No.
And that you can dilute the intended experience with too many rules. And I was experiencing that in combat with the called shot rule, because I can do it to y'all. And he made a big point when we ran into him at Village Inn about that as well.
That's true.
And accepting a certain and mitigating a certain level of irresponsibility on behalf of yourself to help save your players and preserve the experience. And so that's where I went with it. In the olden days of AD&D, I could kill a motherfucker outright. I was cutting off legs all the time. There were many stories of limbless by the skin of their teeth victories from AD&D. For quite a few of those, but you know, we have those still. They just come in the form of our critical hits table, which features major injuries, minor injuries, and that's also something we got from the Dungeon Masters Guild. I know we took a trip over there earlier, and I think we can actually view them on here.
Only 17 Instagram posts.
Okay, so now we're back to our map. You can see here we've got the plain all but completed. We got our heads, and then we got our entrance in the distance. So now all we need to do is kind of finish out this rock, as well as finishing out our pathway. Let me go ahead and pull up. Alright, so you can hear the CCR in the distance. Keep accidentally maximizing my Google Chrome page, which I'm not trying to do. I'm just trying to see my features and angle a little bit more clearly. Sorry about the carpet view there.
You have to see our beautiful carpet.
Alright. Here's where we're going to start up at this moment right here. And I'm actually going to bring out this brown because I want this area to show that there is a transition and saturation. So I'm going to give just this brown outline. I'm going to take it across here. I'm holding the brown flat. I'm just kind of keeping a tight cinch on it, holding the paper down, and I'm bringing it back and forth. Now when you get to here, rub it out and get lighter. Get lighter. There you go, just like that. It's going to help us for what comes next. Just taking the black crayon, kind of giving this first little integration of black.
That is one of the big regional words. Crayon.
Just bring it across there. Kind of help that saturation stay nice and healthy. Bring it up and around. And I'm just doing a light shade is what's called when you add black.
I know.
Explaining for the people watching.
I was going to say Billy.
So I'm adding a shade. In case you can't tell, the job I have in front of me is a DM. Yeah, you got to take your time. You got to do it right with this bunch. There's a lot of misinterpretation. There's a lot of inappropriate remark and response. But if you're just patient with it, and help people, you can get the results you want. All right, so I'm keeping my black flat here, and I'm just going along real light. Just keeping it real light going across. Yeah, just like that. We've already taken care of our shadows, so we don't need to do anything extra in terms of crossing that monolith. Right now we're just wanting this combination of colors, which I've already laid down a layer of brown. Now we're coming over it with this black, and you can instantly see that everything looks a lot more ashy and radical while also being true to the earth.
True to earth.
And we'll add some areas in for these steps to keep the brown kind of going. That whole thing. Just kind of.
Hey, B-Dog, are there any monsters that look like vampire squid?
Yeah. Let's say the illithids or the mind flayers come close.
Oh, yeah. Okay, fair.
Whatever you want to call them. The new Elven subraces on Unearthed Arcana just came out, and we finally have access to the Grugosh and the aquatic elves and the aerial elves, the semi-angelic ones, and this is really nice because it means that people are kind of putting a little more effort into it. I wish we could have gotten the subclasses of those, or not subclasses, those subracial archetypes of those races, because even though they came out with the Grugosh for the wild elf, we know that they're still a type of wild elf they haven't covered, which is the Listari, and I happen to have a couple of Listari people in my campaign.
Is one of the Coffee Bros in the story?
No. Hiawatha, who used to be played by one of the Coffee Bros, is a Listari. So we're kind of going up through with this black. I think he did decide Gold Elf. Or Sun Elf, sorry.
That's good news, I guess. I don't really care about elves.
Well,
in true to form human, who's mostly non-magical fashion, I just don't really...
You should care about Sun Elves, because they don't believe in your existence.
Well...
And think that you should have less representation and rights over their own kind.
Okay, so they're shitty white men?
Yeah, they are the...
In the metaphor.
Yeah, they do have a lot of those behavioral traits in common. But more like Kim Jong-un or Vladimir Putin in that regard.
Oh, okay.
They are very militant.
Well, they don't have to deal with my ass face to face.
We're lucky that because of the Second Sundering, a lot of them have had to put that aside and start building new alliances and friendships, but they're all new to it. It's not been something that they previously had to worry about, but now that they don't have a home anymore, hashtag collapse of Evermeet.
Was that our fault?
Nope. It's their own fault.
I just sort of assume that everything's our fault at this point.
No. And what the Wisp is kind of noting at is that through the tyranny of dragons, we had a lot of, insane circumstances where we were on the forefront of the politics, and it can be really daunting in those moments to figure out, what in the hell you should be doing or saying in certain times, and
or who should you kill or not?
Yeah, kill, not kill.
That's really what I have the problem with. Is like I can do diplomacy all day. That's fine, but the killing is where I struggle.
Don't we all? We got here's some Bob Dylan going on behind me. This is again off the playlist Shucks that you can find on my Spotify if you'll just follow that bottom part. Also accepting some donations before I get the Patreon account up and going. You can find my donate button on my actual page, and this keeps me doing what I'm doing. I want to be able to continue to provide these things, and I want to be able to continue to say, I play Dungeons and Dragons for realsies.
For real.
I like treating it like a job. I enjoy the feeling of success and completion that it offers me. I can't find that in a lot of other circumstances.
And
so, help a fellow creative out. If you're already doing this and you like the instruction I'm giving and you're implementing it in your game, even still, let's keep it going. Train keeps running all night long. Alright, yeah, there we go. Just bringing it up right through there over onto this edge, and then kind of bring in that black a little bit right there. Alright, so all that's really left is this this bit and the distance, which needs to be that heavy saturated brown. So I'm going to bring it in. And this will take you down to the area that the dungeon actually starts in. So this will be our kind of our finishing feature here. Okay, so just kind of like we did with this entrance, let's go through some areas and maybe add where the people have been, you know, walking and stepping to kind of allow for that natural follow. Put it up and in here, and they had also described a couple of features. So one of those features were these burned out campfires. So let's go ahead and get one of those in.
Last time we were in a ravine, we accidentally killed some teenagers.
Ah, yes, the great
Rape debacle
incident.
God.
What you should make most saturated is the path that these inhabitants, hint wink, are taking. I cannot discuss the racial makeup of those particular entities.
I'm just kind of tired of fighting kobolds. Like, I guess that's what we get for doing it, you know.
A draconic
campaign, but man, I'm tired of fucking kobolds.
Well, that is a shame.
It only makes it better when I kill them.
I think kobolds are really neat, and what the developers have at least been trying to do in expanding their portfolio, because I mean they have lived in relative obscurity with no real cause or delight for a long time, and I mean I would say they were killed almost indiscriminately as just starter monsters like dire rats. And it's like, well, you know, if you actually get to learn about them, they're a little more complex than that in some cool ways.
Yeah, their social structure is interesting.
Yeah. The fact that, you know, we have draconic humanoids on the ground now in campaigns talking. Granted, most times they still sound like idiots, which I would definitely encourage you to develop dialogue in your campaigns to allow these monsters to take on more than the normal range of stupidity.
Oh my god, please make them as dumb as possible. It makes them so much fun to kill.
It is very strange that there's this nuance that if they're monsters, they must be stupid, so they deserve to die. That's not why they deserve to die.
No,
they deserve to die. To kill them. Not just because you know their alignment. They deserve to die because of the stuff they do to people. And if you don't ever understand what they're actually doing to people or the cause, the story really just kind of feels a lot more bloated and alone, and you don't want that feeling. What I'm doing now is I'm going around and just adding a couple of last remaining accents and kind of pushing the value just a little bit darker on this path. It's got kind of a salty vibe, and I'd rather have this dark ashen earth vibe. Now, there's some areas where I will leave it to get salty, like up here. You know, this is a rise, and so you're gonna want to come in with some more of this value right there.
Why don't you ever say that to Asphodel when she tries to?
I do.
Okay.
Quote it a lot.
Nice.
I also quote the monkeys. I'm not your stepping stone.
Okay, well, a little bit of a deeper cut, which is fine.
I am well versed in using songs to extrapolate my points. I saw a chart today explaining bops, bangers, and this whole new terminology for music, and just reading it, I was disgusted.
Why didn't you tag me? That sounds awesome.
Want anything to do with what's happening.
That sounds awesome.
I don't know if you guys have seen this yet, but apparently iGen and millennials are starting to come together on a couple of
Yeah, bops and bangers and jams.
new words and
Vibes.
stuff.
I mean, they're not new words, they're just used in a different way.
I've never heard music described the way it's being described now, and it doesn't make me feel good or comfortable.
That's growth.
All right.
Growth is uncomfortable.
Can be. Okay, so here we go. We have our Ashen Plain. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. Again, I hope that I can keep making these. And I'll just, looks like we forgot a rock here.
Oof.
I'll go ahead and do just a quick recap of everything that we've done tonight, and then I'll be off. But moving through Tales from the Yawning portal, trying to get all the maps actually set up and going. That means we had to start with a town that we found through a picture online of the old Sunless Citadel module, but here we have Oakhurst, the town that people will be interacting with first. We built not only the main road through and using our bold lines with our Sharpie, but we also went ahead and color-coded all the features you can visit, including the well, the general store, the blacksmith, the old boar inn, and it has all these NPCs provided in the module, but we've also got some of these footpaths. Now, I don't actually make people move their piece through this stuff, but similarly to a board game, it's just nice to help you imagine the economy of the town. And then we color-coded things. We have areas where medical treatment might be found coded in red, areas of interest coded in blue, or not in blue, in orange. I think I had done that multiple times, but really green is for buying. Green is money.
Green is money.
And then what you go to after this, and you'll flip the map over. What you go to after this is the Ashen Plain, which leads you through to the ravine. So this is the first transition sequence, and coming down the old road, that is notated. Oh, I gotta stop saying that. Noted. Just right here, the old road kind of comes right here, and that brings up a good point that we should probably gonna go ahead and label this area. So I'm gonna put the old road here in Sharpie. Couple dots and a point. So you'll be coming in through the old road, see the skulls, and then actually start fucking around with the Ashen Plain. We've got these ravine sequences here to provide some natural cases of entrapment, leading finally to the rune-covered figures that then will lead to the first map, which is the fortress level. That will be the next project that I embark on in terms of drawing and coloring, and I'll keep all that kind of updated. Trying to get in the habit of fielding questions or comments towards the ends of my episodes. So, the 3 people watching, are you able to see the video? Are you running through Tales from the Yawning portal? Let me know.
Wait, let me show them my cross stitch.
Oh, we got a cross stitch going on over here.
Look at it. I'm making it.
Nice little Quebecois swear word there.
Yeah. Little poinsettia border. She cute. I think I'm gonna have to rip out all the bottom one because I fucked it up. But it's cute.
And that is the Wisp. That'll be featured in our actual Dungeons and Dragons programming that we do in Tales from the Yawning portal of. I think I might switch around over to here so that you can get something other than a closet space.
Oh, you don't like the closet?
I love the closet. I just got all these dope-ass maps hanging up.
Yeah. You can look at that map where I killed a bunch of spiders.
Alright, let's try this.
Okay.
Maps all around me.
Maps. I think the Telephone is probably my favorite series of maps you've ever made.
Yeah.
It's just really fun to look at.
I agree.
It makes it more fun to play on, at least for me. Listen, having visual interest is important. And like, I know that you can't do like neons with everything that we do, but...
Alright, so again, we're in our Q&A portion. If you want to know about some of the maps on the walls around me, or hear a story, or even find out more information about the the map we drew tonight. I got the avatar here. The map we drew tonight, which was Oakhurst leading to the Ashen Plain.
It's the bed. It's the club bed.
Let me know.
Oh, somebody asked a question. Here, you read it.
What did you draw this?
I think he means, what did you draw this for?
Alright, so right now we're in our preparatory stages of going through Tales from the Yawning portal, which is one of the newer campaigns that have come out, source material for Dungeons and Dragons. And we have to use our own creativity to generate these maps. And so I've been going through the module and making the maps that they don't provide, which in this case includes, in the first bit of the Sunless Citadel, going to the town of Oakhurst, which is right here, places you can visit within, and then also going to the Ashen Plain, which is the first place leading into the ravine. And you can pan back in the episode if you want to see how we drew that and why it's drawn and a lot of other shit.
Will you scoot it that way so we can see the whole chat box?
The
Just
what?
in case you can't see the whole chat box.
Yeah, you can.
Yet?
It doesn't go down anymore.
No, over. Thank you. Oh, what did you draw the song? There we go.
Oh, my bad. So
See?
sad we
There
went
you go.
through all of that.
That's okay. You made it.
We didn't see the whole thing. But we have been doing this on 18 by 24 newsprint paper. Comes with plenty of sheets, but it holds wax and ink really good. And we're doing it all with Crayola crowns and Sharpie markers because
He says nice MSU pennant.
I know,
I
right?
mean, they. Sorry. That's weird. I don't know your gender. That's weird. I shouldn't assume.
MISSOURI state.
You want me to sing my fight song, Billy?
Please don't.
Oh, Lord, it's so hard to be humble.
I don't know who this Billy is.
Whatever. Bend to me, stream.
Alright, and the Wisp is off to go rest. Keep the questions coming for... Oh, it's actually all the time we've got for tonight. I encourage you to check out the past views, and I'll be publishing all of these to YouTube. But if you're thinking about running Tales from the Yawning portal and you want to get involved with map making, I'm doing it Mr. Rogers style. I'm doing it Bob Ross style. It's crayons and Sharpies and just thought. And that's what I think a lot of Dungeon Masters miss in their games. And so helping you understand the process and explain how to draw effectively, quickly, accurately is what I want to provide and help Dungeon Masters bring to the table. Check out those back episodes.
It's drawn on newsprint.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and write it down.
That's my last one.
Newsprint paper, 18 by 24. And all the actual drawing work being done with Crayola crayons and Sharpie. I don't know if I put a comma between Crayola and crayons, but if I did, I'm sorry. They were a gift, and they're being well used. Which reminds me, I need to finish cleaning up. My brown broke on me tonight. Oh, hey, what's going on, Frank? It's nice to see you, buddy. If you haven't gotten a chance to get a walkthrough of the map, I'll do one more before I sign off. Ah, hot damn. Get this shit out. Yeah, I picked up a lot of the drawing techniques. I don't know if you knew about this course, but I knew you knew people in it that complained. I think Dominique might have complained about it the most. But Drawing 3 for Designers was a really good class, and it was very specific. He really helped you understand the finer points of concept arting and Photoshop painting and doing things kind of like how Bob Ross even taught and talked about. I'll scoot back over here and kind of show off the map one more time. So the actual module didn't really provide a whole lot of detail and work, and the first map they provide you is extremely unhelpful. It's just the fortress level, and so you know it's like, okay, well fine, that's great once I actually get there, but there are 2 pages of story-based material that you have to go through first, including this town called Oakhurst, where there's all these rumors to get, and there's all these people to meet and places to go, and it doesn't really help do that. So in using some inspiration from the game Lords of Waterdeep, what I've been doing to represent towns is making little Lords of Waterdeep maps that are capable of fitting, 1 inch by 1 inch tokens down on them, help color code them, and build some of the footwork and pathways to help people understand the economy of the town without having to rely so directly on using skills and doing the whole talk for days rigmarole. Oh shit. My delay is 2 minutes. It's insane. It's all good. Then moves over into the next map, the Ashen Plain, and this is the first area that it talks about, and going up to the ravine, and move that up. Whoop. A little hard. Yeah, up to the ravine where the rest of the map work actually starts. So I'll be traveling, towards that goal through this series, and the next time I'll be streaming, I'll be covering actually drawing the maps that they provide and showing people how to put that on paper without having to, expand a surface area or play on a floor. And a lot of it just comes with creative adjustment. Oh yeah, we won't be walking through. We'll be playing it, but what I'm trying to show people how to do is draw the maps for each element of it, so that if you do decide to play it, you know how to make these things and what to do and where to go. But I think these kind of skills are pretty lost in the Dungeon Master world. But the actual play stream that'll be going on with this will be pretty funny and pretty cool, considering the players are all advanced level. But anyway, it's past time to cut it off, so I invite you guys to join next time. Check it out. We'll be actually drawing the fortress levels and making everything look real nice and peppy. My little background. So for everyone who was able to join in watching, including my friend Frank, peace out, have a good night, stay fresh, and I'll catch you guys next time for the fortress level in Tales from the Yawning Portal.